the great discourse on the establishing of awareness. Vipassana Research Institute. Having experienced, as they really are, the arising of sensations, their passing away, the relishing of them, the danger in them, and the release from them, the enlightened one, monks, is fully liberated, being free from all attachment. Vedana in the practice of Satipatthana. The practice of the fourfold Satipatthana, the establishing of awareness, was highly praised by the Buddha in the suttas, mentioning its importance in the Mahasatipatthana Sutta. The Buddha called it Eka Yano Mago, the only way for the purification of beings, for overcoming sorrow, for extinguishing suffering, for walking on the path of truth, and for realizing Nibbana, liberation. In this sutta, the Buddha presented a practical method for developing self-knowledge by means of Kaya-nupassana, observation of the body, Vedana-nupassana, observation of sensations, Citta-nupassana, observation of the mind, and Dhamma-nupassana, observation of the contents of the mind. To explore the truth about ourselves, we must examine what we are, body and mind. We must learn to observe these directly within ourselves. Accordingly, we must keep 3 points in mind. 1. The reality of the body may be imagined by contemplation, but to experience it directly, one must work with Vedana, body sensations arising within it. 2. Similarly, the actual experience of the mind is attained by working with the contents of the mind. Therefore, in the same way as body and sensations cannot be experienced separately, the mind cannot be observed apart from the contents of the mind. 3. Mind and matter are so closely interrelated that the contents of the mind always manifest themselves as sensations in the body. For this reason, the Buddha said, everything that arises in the mind flows together with sensations. Therefore, observation of sensations offers a means, indeed the only means, to examine the totality of our being, physical as well as mental. Broadly speaking, the Buddha refers to 5 types of Vedana. 1. Pleasant sensations. 2. Unpleasant sensations. 3. Pleasant mental feeling. 4. Unpleasant mental feeling. 5. Neither unpleasant nor pleasant sensations. In all references to Vedana in the Satipatthana Sutta, the Buddha speaks of Sukha Vedana, Dukkha Vedana, i.e. the body sensations, or Adukkam Sukha Vedana, which in this context also clearly denotes neutral body sensations. The strong emphasis is on body sensations because they work as a direct avenue for the attainment of fruition, Nibbana, by means of strong dependence condition, i.e. the nearest dependent condition for our liberation. This fact is succinctly highlighted in the Patana, the 7th text of Abhidhamma Pitaka, under the Paka to Panisaya, where it is stated, from the above statement it is clear how important Vedana sensation is on the path of liberation. The pleasant and unpleasant body sensations, the surrounding environment, the food we eat, and the sleeping and sitting position, the mattress or cushions used, etc., are all responsible for ongoing body sensations of one type or another. When the sensations are experienced properly, as the Buddha explained in the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, these become the nearest dependent condition for our liberation. There are 4 dimensions to our nature: the body and its sensations, and the mind and its contents. These provide 4 avenues for the establishing of awareness in Satipatthana. In order that the observation be complete, we must experience every facet, which we can only do by means of Vedana. This exploration of truth will remove the delusions we have about ourselves. In the same way, to come out of the delusion about the world outside, we must explore how the outside world interacts with our own mind and matter phenomenon, our own self. The outside world comes in contact with the individual only at the 6 sense doors: the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Since all these sense doors are contained in the body, every contact of the outside world is at the body level. The traditional spiritual teachers of India, before the Buddha, in his day, and afterwards, expressed the view that craving causes suffering, and that to remove suffering one must abstain from the objects of craving. This belief led to various practices of penance and extreme abstinence from external stimuli in order to develop detachment. The Buddha took a different approach. Having learned to examine the depths of his own mind, he realized that between the external object and the mental reflex of craving is a missing link, Vedana. Whenever we encounter an object through the 5 physical senses or the mind, a sensation arises, and based on the sensation, tanha, craving, arises. If the sensation is pleasant, we crave to prolong it. If it is unpleasant, we crave to be rid of it. It is in the chain of dependent origination, Paticca Samuppada, that the Buddha expressed his profound discovery. Dependent on 6 sense spheres, contact arises. Dependent on contact, sensation arises. Dependent on sensation, craving arises. The immediate cause for the arising of craving and consequently of suffering is not something outside of us, but rather the sensations that occur within us. Therefore, just as the understanding of Vedana is absolutely essential to understand the interaction between mind and matter within ourselves, the same understanding of Vedana is essential to understand the interaction of the outside world with the individual. If this exploration of truth were to be attempted by contemplation or intellectualization, we could easily ignore the importance of Vedana. However, the crux of the Buddha's teaching is the necessity of understanding the truth, not merely at the intellectual level, but by direct experience. For this reason, Vedana is defined as follows. That which feels the object is Vedana. Its characteristic is to feel. It is the essential taste of experience. However, merely to feel the sensations within is not enough to remove our delusions. Instead, it is essential to understand the Lakkhana, three characteristics of all phenomena. We must directly experience anicca, impermanence, dukkha, suffering, and anatta, selflessness, within ourselves. Of these three, the Buddha always stressed the importance of anicca, because the realization of the other two will easily follow when we experience deeply the characteristic of impermanence. In the Maggiya Sutta of the Udana, he said, "In one Maggiya who perceives impermanence, the perception of selflessness is established. One who perceives what is selfless wins the uprooting of the pride of egotism in this very life, and thus realizes Nibbana." Therefore, in the practice of Satipatthana, the experience of anicca, arising and passing away, plays a crucial role. This experience of anicca, as it manifests in the mind and body, is also called Vipassana. The practice of Vipassana is the same as the practice of Satipatthana. The Mahasatipatthana Sutta begins with the observation of the body. Here several different starting points are explained. Observing respiration, giving attention to bodily movements, etc. It is from these points that we can progressively develop Vedana-nupassana, Citta-nupassana, and Dhamma-nupassana. However, no matter from which point the journey starts, stages come which everyone must pass through on the way to the final goal. These are described in important sentences repeated not only at the end of each section of Kaya-nupassana, but also at the end of Vedana-nupassana, Citta-nupassana, and each section of Dhamma-nupassana. They are 1. Samudaya Dhamma-nupassi va viharati, 2. Vaya Dhamma-nupassi va viharati, 3. Samudaya vaya Dhamma-nupassi va viharati. 1 dwells observing the phenomenon of arising. 2. 1 dwells observing the phenomenon of passing away. 3. 1 dwells observing the phenomenon of arising and passing away. These sentences reveal the essence of the practice of Satipatthana. Unless these 3 levels of anicca are experienced, we will not develop Panya wisdom, the equanimity based on the experience of impermanence, which leads to detachment and liberation. Therefore, in order to practice any of the fourfold Satipatthana, we have to develop the constant, thorough understanding of impermanence, which in Pali is known as Sampajanya. Sampajanya has been often misunderstood. In the colloquial language of the day, it also had the meaning of knowingly. For example, the Buddha has spoken of Sampajana Musa Basita and Sampajana Musa Vada, which means consciously or knowingly to speak falsely. This superficial meaning of the term is sufficient in an ordinary context, but whenever the Buddha speaks of Vipassana, of the practice leading to purification, to Nibbana, as here in this sutta, then Sampajana has a specific technical significance. To remain Sampajano, an adjective form of Sampajana, one must meditate on the impermanence of phenomena, anicca bodha, objectively observing mind and matter without reaction. The understanding of Samudaya Vaya Dhamma, the nature of arising and passing away, cannot be contemplation, which is merely a process of thinking, or by imagination, or even by believing. It must be performed with Pacchanubhoti, direct experience, which is Yata Bhuta Yana Dasana. experiential knowledge of the reality as it is. Here the observation of Vedana plays its vital role, because with Vedana a meditator very clearly and tangibly experiences samudaya vaya, arising and passing away. Sampajana, in fact, is directly perceived, the arising and passing away of Vedana, wherein all four facets of our being are included. It is for this reason that the three essential qualities, to remain atapi ardent, sampajano, and satima aware, are invariably repeated for each of the four satipatthanas. And as the Buddha explained, sampajana is observing the arising and passing away of Vedana. Hence, the part played by Vedana in the practice of satipatthana should not be ignored, or this practice of satipatthana will not be complete. In the words of the Buddha, Tiso ima bhikkhave vedana katama Tiso sukha vedana dukkha vedana adukkam sukha vedana ima ko bhikkhave tiso vedana imasam ko bhikkhave tisanang vedanang parinaya kattaro satipatthana bhavetaba. Meditators, there are three types of body sensations. What are the three? Pleasant sensations, unpleasant sensations, and neutral sensations. Practice, meditators, the fourfold satipatthana for the complete understanding of these three sensations. The practice of satipatthana, which is the practice of vipassana, is complete only when one directly experiences impermanence. Sensations provide the nexus where the entire mind and body are tangibly revealed as impermanent phenomena leading to liberation.